Hello everyone, thank you and welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha Akinyera, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for joining us today. And if you are new, you're welcome. Have a seat. Anyways guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how my spouse was able to join me in Canada after I think a year and maybe 2 months, right, of me being in Canada, a year alone. So I would be walking us through the process on how my spouse came into Canada. Just as you can see from the title of the video, I would be talking about his visitor's visa application and then how we were able to convert his visitor's visa into a work permit here in Canada. Yeah, so guys, first things first, you'll see me looking down. That's because I have my laptop. I have the things I would like to discuss with you guys today all documented down, because I wouldn't want to miss out any information. Okay, so first we'll divide this video into two sections. The first part being the visitor's visa application, and then the second part, which is the work permit. So we got his work permit through Flagpoling, so I'll be talking about and taking us through the steps on how we flagpoled. Okay, so first things now, the visitor's visa application. So my spouse and I, for this particular application for my spouse, we decided to use a regulated immigration consultant for this particular application due to some personal reasons. That's our own personal reasons. So we decided to use a regulated immigration consultant rather than me handling his application myself. So I was the one who suggested that we used a regulated immigration consultant. So at the end of the day, it was practically everything that my husband and I had discussed about. But when you're having a little bit kind of doubts like that, you're just like, okay, let's just use a professional, stuff like that. Do you understand? So yeah, we decided to use a regulated immigration consultant. His name is Julius of Canada. He's very good. I would always recommend him at any time because he did a good job. So my husband's application was actually submitted on the 21st of March of 2023, and the documents that we used, we didn't really use anything much, right? So documents we used were his bank statements and payslip and job offer and all and recommendation letter. Those were the documents we used, and then a letter of invitation that I wrote also, and he also wrote a letter of explanation. So those were just the documents we used and we submitted. And then my other husband's application was approved April 13. It took less than 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Honestly, it wasn't even up to 4 weeks, because we submitted April 21st, and 1 week after, I think he did his biometrics on the 30th of April, and sorry, he did his biometrics on the 30th of March, yes. So we submitted March 21st. He did his biometrics 30th of March or 31st of March. I really can't remember. And then his application was approved April 13. All this in a space of less than 4 weeks, right? We got his application approved. And then the next thing was, okay, when was the ideal time for him to come in? So for my husband's visitor's visa application, the letter of invite that I wrote was inviting my husband to come join me in celebrating my convocation, right, which he was meant to. However, um we thought about it that it's going to be like a waste of money, you coming in, we spend my convocation together and then you have to go back. It just didn't seem right with me, right? Personally, it just didn't seem right with me, because I felt like we're going to spending a whole lot of money paying flights, paying Airbnb and all of that, and then you go back and then we'll now plan for you to come back again. It just did not sit well with me at that point in time. So what we did is we then said, okay, why don't you wait? Because I was graduating in my convocation was in June, and I already finished. They sent us the letter of completion by May, and I'd already submitted for my postgraduate work permit. Do you get? So it just didn't make sense at that point in time, because if he had come in for us to get a work permit, a spousal work permit for him, it's going to be based on my study permit at that point in time, and my study permit was going to be expiring by I think August or September. So it just didn't make sense, because that was what he was going to get. So we said, okay, why don't you wait when I get my my postgraduate work permit, then you'll come in, right, as a visitor, and then we'll go flagpole. So now, yeah, so this now brings us to the aspect of us to flagpole for my husband. So my husband came into the country in November, and in November we then took a trip down to St. Stephen's Border in New Brunswick, because we're in Nova Scotia. So we took a trip down to New Brunswick, St. Stephen's, to go get his work permit. However, the first trip we made, we were able to get the work permit that day, because we didn't have his medicals. So you remember, like I've been discussing, he came in as a visitor. So for a visitor's visa, it's not compulsory to get a medical done before you could get your visa, right? So but for a work permit, you need that. So because we didn't have and honestly I actually forgot that we needed a medical report. So because we didn't have the medical report, when we went the first time to New Brunswick, St. Stephen's, we didn't get it. So what we then did was we came back, and after a while we then took a trip back. That's after we've done the medicals was ready and submitted to IRCC. We got an information from the clinic where we did the medicals that the documents has been submitted to IRCC. So we just waited like a little bit, and then we went back. So the documents we used to get my husband's work permit at the border through flagpoling was my husband's passport. Definitely he needs passport, my work permit, my job offer letter that shows that I have a full-time employment, which is necessary for you to get a spousal work permit. Your spouse who is sponsoring you must have a full-time job offer. So a full-time permanent job offer. Then my husband's medicals, and basically that was it. So the way the flagpoling works is when you get there, you just tell them at the border. So we went to a walk-through border. We didn't go through a drive-through border. So we went to a walk-through. So when we got to the border at the Canadian side, we told them that we are here to flagpole. So they asked who wants to flagpole. We said my husband. So because I don't have a visa, I only have my permit. My visa has expired. I only have a permit, and my permit allows me to stay legally in Canada. I just can't leave Canada. If I leave Canada without a visa, I can't come back in. So they asked who wanted to flagpole. Then we said my husband, and then I now asked them that, do I have to follow my husband to the other side, which is the US border? Then they said, oh no, that it's just the person who needs to flagpole, because I told them that I don't have a visa, so if I go, I should not gonna be homeless at the border. I should not gonna be homeless at the border. So we asked, and they said no, just my husband. So my husband walked down to the US side of the border, and when he got there, they asked him, oh, what do you want to do? He said he wants to flagpole. Then they gave him some documents, put some things, and I don't know why people say they stamp deny on your passport, because no, they didn't stamp any deny on my husband's passport. There's no place on my husband's passport that said they stamped denied. So because people will tell you that, oh, they'll stamp your passport denied, but no, they just gave like a slip or something, and you know, told him to bring it and show it back to the immigration over here in Canada. So that was practically what my husband did. He came, and then when he got back, then they called me, and I provided all the necessary documents, which I already stated. I showed them everything. They told us to wait, and voila, in less than 30 minutes after he came back from the US side of the border, we got his work permit. So his work permit is also for the duration of my own work permit, right? My own work permit is for 1 year because I studied a 1 year program, and my postgraduate work permit is for 1 year. So the same thing with my husband, he got up to the length of my own permit. So that was how we were able to get my husband's work permit through flagpoling. And it's not just your spouse permit that you could get. You could also flagpole to get a study permit. So if you come into the country as a visitor and you get an admission into a Canadian school, you could go to the border and get a work permit, sorry, a study permit. You could. Disclaimer, I'm not a regulated immigration consultant, so I am just saying, I'm sharing my own experience in case if there is anyone who would also like to explore the same pathway which I did. Okay, this is just something that you could do. Okay, I think that is basically all I have to say about flagpole. You already have a visitor's visa. You come in, get whatever you need to get, and then you could go flagpole from one TR status to another TR status. Okay, yes, so that's it, and that brings us to the end of today's segment on my channel, and see you guys on my next video, and stay safe. Bye.